Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to have a look at SAP Basics for beginners. If you like our videos, please do click on the like button. And if you've not yet subscribed, or if you're a new viewer, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to receive notifications of new uploads. About the trainer, I am Vijayalakshmi Balakrishnan, and my core expertise is in SAP data migration, FICO, business consolidation, business warehouse, and business planning and consolidation. I have around 15 years of experience in SAP implementation and support, and 10 years of domain experience. Each challenge is an opportunity. Make the best use of it. Change is the only word that doesn't change. Everything else changes. Best thing you can gift another human being is building their self-confidence. Teach them how to fish and don't fish for them. The contents of this session is as follows: SAP facts, SAP testing introduction, getting into SAP system, getting around SAP, other SAP basics. Welcome to the world of SAP. Topic 1, SAP facts. What is SAP and what does it stand for? SAP stands for Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. It was found in 1972 by ex-employees of IBM in Germany. SAP is one of the ERPs. ERP standing for Enterprise Resource Planning, and other ERPs which are available in the market are BAN, Oracle Financials, etc. SAP R3 Enterprise is an open client server system, and it has established new standards of information management solutions. The main advantage of SAP is that it has tight integration, and the individual applications guarantee the consistency of data throughout the system and throughout the organization itself. A standard SAP project system is divided into 3 environments based on the requirements of a specific organization. It can be more, but the basic is 3 environments: the development, quality assurance, and the productions. The servers might be 1 or more based on the requirement of the business. For example, development can have a golden client and another secondary development system where it's transferred and a copy of it is maintained. In the same way, quality assurance can have separate servers where one quality assurance server is used for specific testing by a specific group or specific geographical area, and it might vary from one organization to another. The development system is where the actual development takes place. The configuration of settings and the customization based on the business requirements is done in the development system. Whereas the quality assurance system is where the full testing happens, and that's when if the test results meets the required needs of the business, then it is signed off and moved into the production system. The production system is the system which is used to track or which is used to store the daily transactions or the day-to-day transactions. So that's the live system where all the information is fed into and the whole business transactions are stored and saved. SAP is a table-driven customization software. There's more than 32,000 tables and it just goes on keeping on adding, and it is tightly integrated and you have a lot of flexibility. At the same time, you have user exists which meet the flexibility requirements of specific businesses. As I've told you, SAP uses more than 32,000 tables, and it has all these submodules tightly integrated. R3 stands for real-time three-tier architecture, and the three servers in this R3 architecture is presentation server, application server, and database server. Presentation server is where the actual SAP GUI, which is known as GUI or graphical user interface, is installed. Application server is where the actual SAP software is installed. And database server is where the database which the SAP uses is installed. SAP is an ERP system, ERP standing for Enterprise Resource Planning. ECC is a version of SAP, and ECC 6 is the latest available, and it stands for Enterprise Core Component. SAP is window-based system, so whatever shortcuts you use in Microsoft Word or Excel, those are also can be used in SAP. For example, Control S to save can also be used in SAP to save a document. So, as I've told you, there are three servers or three systems in SAP. One is the development server, where actually the customization takes place. And the next one is the quality server, where the customization which has been done is moved from the development server to the quality server, and it is being tested whether it meets the requirements of the business needs. And once that's done, the customization is moved into the production system, and that's where the day-to-day transaction data is stored. Now, if you see here, the customization, which is done in the development system, is moved to the quality system. That's why you see an arrow going from the development system to the quality system. And from the quality system, once it's tested and signed off, it is moved from the quality system to the production system. But you see an arrow coming back from the production system. Any idea what that stands for? Just think of any good reason for bringing something back from the production system to the quality system. It's not the configuration changes, no, but it is the real-time actual data which is prevailing in the production system. So why am I copying it back to the quality system? So that I will have the latest data on which I can do the settings, on which I can do the testing of the settings which has been moved in from the development system. So from the development system, the latest settings or the new customization move into the quality system. From the production system, the latest data, the latest transaction data, which is captured there, is moved into the quality system so that you can test whether the configuration done in the development system and moved to the quality system behaves the way the business users want it to behave on the real-time data. So they get a preview of how the result will be in the quality system for those configuration changes on the real-time data before it goes into the production system. Let me give you an example. Suppose you have a piece of cloth and you take it to the tailor for stitching. You want to stitch a shirt. So you give your measurements and you give the specifications, and this is called as customization. And the tailor works on developing your shirt. And this developing of your shirt is done in the development system. Then he gives you a call and says, please come and try it on and let me know whether you need some changes. Now this trying it on is known as testing, and that is done in the quality system. So you test, you put on your shirt and see whether it's fitting you, whether the buttons are in the right place, whether the color is correct, and whether the specifications which you have given has been rightly stitched. And if you're happy with the stitching, you pay the tailor and take the shirt home for daily use. So if you're happy with the test results of the configuration changes in the quality system, you sign it off and it gets moved to the production system for daily use. If you're not happy with the changes, for example, you say the shirt is very loose. I mean, it's too big. I need some, we have to cut it short, or I need 2 more extra buttons there. I need the collar to be a little bit shorter. So if you say further changes, then the tailor takes it back, makes those changes, and then calls you again to try it on. And if you're happy, you pay the tailor and take the shirt home. That's what happens here. Now, why is that arrow coming back from the production system? It's equivalent to, in our example, the tailor example, if you have given your measurements, then you have to see to it that you try it on and say whether it fits you or not. You cannot tell your friend to try it on and see whether it fits you or not. In the same way, if you want to see the results, then you should test it on the real-time data, which is available in the production system. So you copy that real-time data into the quality system, bring in the configuration changes from the development system, test the configuration changes on the real-time data, and if this testing yields the correct results, then it's moved into the production system for daily use. So this is how the landscape or the movement of the configuration changes and the copy of data happens in SAP ECC landscape. Let's see how the SAP data flow happens in ECC. We have 2 external entities, which is the vendor and the customer. Okay, they're external to the SAP system. So the vendor comes to supply raw materials or services to the organization, whereas the customer comes to buy the organization's product or use the services of the organization. So when the customer comes and says, for example, if we are a laptop manufacturing company, the customer comes and says, I need 10 laptops. So as soon as the customer gives a request, asking for a quotation, then, and confirms that he wants to buy 10 laptops, as soon as this information is fed into the SAP system and the salesperson clicks on save, immediately, because it's a tightly integrated system, immediately a trigger is sent to the material management system, management team, where they check their raw material stock. If they have enough raw materials to produce 10 laptops, they go ahead to the production planning team and pass on the information, and the production takes place. If they do not have the required raw materials, then they raise a purchase requisition, a purchase order on the vendor to supply the raw materials. As soon as the vendor supplies the raw materials, they check the inventory and they say, yes, we have received the raw materials for 10 laptops. And as soon as the material management part is over, a trigger is sent to the finance team to make payment to the vendor. And the finance team makes the payment, giving rise to a financial transaction, and that whole purchases of raw material and payment comes to an end. And now the finance team, having completed the payment process, goes on with the other activities, financial activities. The material management team passes on the raw materials to the planning and production team. They produce the laptops and they send it to the sales and distribution team. The sales and distribution team, as a result, raise an invoice on the customer and deliver outbound delivery. They deliver the 10 laptops to the customer, and as soon as they enter the details that they've successfully delivered the laptops to the customer and click on save, then the finance team gets into action, follows up with the customer, and based on the terms of agreement regarding the payment, they follow up and collect the payment from the customer. Now, again, controlling is another module where they plan, budget, and look at the cost centers, profit centers, and the overhead management, and all those things are done in controlling. Human resources takes care of the HR, staff-related activities like paying their salaries and contractors, their retirement, pension benefits. All these things are tracked in human resources. So this is just an introduction to how the data flow happens in SAP ECC. So in this screen, we can see the accounting entries for whatever I've just explained. So first, a purchase requisition goes out to the vendor asking for him to supply raw materials. There is no accounting entry for that. Next is a purchase order creation is raised, and there is no accounting entry for that, by means of which the vendor gets an authorized document asking for a list of raw materials, and the terms and conditions are all in the purchase order. The purchase order is released and that also does not have any accounting entry in finance. When the goods are received from the vendor, then there is an accounting entry because inventory is coming in. So inventory account data to goods received or inward receipt account. And when the invoice is raised, when the vendor sends the invoice, then it's goods receipt or inward receipt account data, GRIR account data to vendor account. And when the payment is done to the vendor, then it's vendor account data to bank clearing account. Now, when the sales order is created, there is no accounting entry. And when there is an outbound delivery, then cost of goods sold account data to inventory. So the goods are going out, so the inventory is reduced to that extent. And when the billing happens, it's customer account data to sales. And when the payment is received from the customer, then it's bank account data to customer account. There are various modules in SAP ECC. Around 38 submodules are there, and some of them are listed here, like finance, controlling, material management, sales and distribution, project systems, production planning, and HR. Now, there are other technical modules, which are ABAP, which is a programming module, and BASIS, which is the system maintenance module. And outside SAP ECC, we have the business intelligence or business warehouse, which is lying in a separate server. And this is another product of SAP. Just like SAP ECC, we have SAP BI, which acts as a platform for other modules to be implemented upon. So these are some of the SAP modules. And as I've told you, ECC is one product of SAP. In the same way, BI or business intelligence or business warehouse is another product of SAP. And we have BPC, which is business planning and consolidation, implemented upon BI, on top of BI, and it uses BI data storage infrastructure to retrieve and store data, but the application would be BPC, which is business planning and consolidation. So how does BPC work? So from ECC, which is the transaction data, and this is known as OLTP, which is online transaction processing, the data, real-time data, is captured and it is loaded into SAP BI or business intelligence. So it might be loaded overnight. So at any given point of time, you will be having 1 day or a couple of hours of lag in receiving the real-time data or viewing the real-time data in SAP BI. So BI is known as analytical processing, which is online OLAP, online analytical processing, where it does not contain the real-time data, real-time transaction data as it happens, but a copy of it is available after a certain period of time. And what happens is, once the data, the raw data from ECC is loaded into SAP BI, it is pulled into SAP BPC, and additional data is pulled or inputted or uploaded via Excel sheets into the system, and adjustment entries are posted into the BPC system, and the planning and consolidation happens by way of executing many script logic programs or packages, data manager packages, and planning functions. All these are done to derive the planning results or the consolidation results. And then the reports are generated either by using analysis for office or for EPM reporting. Using these reporting tools, the reports are generated and presented to the top management. Now, like how you have in ECC, you have the development system, the quality system, and the production system. The same goes for BI as well. You have a development, quality, and production system. And for BPC, it's a web client, so you will have a link for the for the development, the quality, and the production. So it's all three environments on which everything works. If you have any questions, please do post them in the comments, and we will be answering you as soon as possible. Let's go for a small quiz. What does SAP stand for? SAP stands for Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. SAP is one of the dash available in the market. Other examples are BAN, Oracle Financials, etc. Fill in the blanks. SAP is an ERP. ERP standing for Enterprise Resource Planning. A standard SAP project system is divided into 3 environments. What are they? They are the development, quality assurance, and production systems. Topic 2, Introduction to SAP Testing. Now, testing is done in the quality assurance system in order to check whether the configuration changes which are coming from the development system meet the business requirements as suggested by the end users, and they test it on the real-time data which is copied from the production system and see whether it yields the desired results. So testing is a very crucial part because you don't want unnecessary changes to go into the production system and cause harm to whatever is running perfectly fine. What is testing? Testing is challenging the past, existing, future circumstances to make it better to make it a better change to suit our needs. So what are the different types of SAP testing? You have SAP unit testing, SAP system testing, SAP scenario or string testing, SAP integrations testing, interface testing, end-to-end testing, end-user testing or user acceptance testing, stress, load, performance testing, usability testing, security and authorization testing, cutover or dry run testing, application testing, day in the life testing, and SAP regression testing. What is SAP unit testing? It is the test that isolates pieces of functionality and tests in bits and pieces. For example, only a specific portion like creation or saving of sales order, only a particular function is taken and tested. SAP system testing is the testing where elements of related SAP functionality are linked together and tested. For example, the whole function of code to cash flow is tested as a whole, not in bits and pieces. SAP scenario or string testing is to test specific business cases which is identified. SAP integration testing is similar to scenario testing, except that it is typically done in the QA system and uses more realistic data. SAP interface testing is the interaction between one SAP and one non-SAP system, how they talk to each other. That is tested in SAP interface testing. SAP end-to-end testing is the complete end-to-end scenario testing in a specific business case is tested from the start to the finish and includes running of interfaces, reports, manual inputs, and workflow. SAP end user or acceptance testing. Two testings are grouped together because they are closely related and is not identical. The user who's actually raised the configuration change request tests whether the configuration changes meets their requirements. And this is known as end user or user acceptance testing. Stress load performance testing is when the system response time is tested and agreed whether it's acceptable or not. Usability testing is how many keystrokes and mouse clicks it takes to perform a function. SAP security and authorization testing is when users are only able to execute transactions and access appropriate data, whether their security and authorization is given to the extent which is requested for, and they don't get too little or too much of authorizations to access the data or transaction codes. Application testing is testing the SAP application, and it's a generic blanket term for another kind of testing. This term can be used in a broad manner, and the whole application is tested. Cutover or dry run testing is major one-time events in the project life cycle are being tested, and they are either a dry run or conversion together to mean a full-scale execution of all the tasks involved to extract data from legacy systems, perform any kind of data conversion, load the results into SAP, etc., etc. Day in the life testing is to run the system the way you expect it to run during a regular business day. And if there's any deviations, those are noted and addressed. SAP regression testing is each time a new release of code and configuration is put into the production system, the team, SAP team, wants to make sure that these changes do not harm the system as such or slow down the system. So they do a regression testing to find out how the newly updated configuration code is impacting the system. Topic 3, getting into the SAP system. So it varies from one organization to another. And first of all, your manager or your team lead has to request for your access in the respective systems based on your job profile. So if you're a person who's going to just deal with end user transaction data related activities, then you need production system access. But if you are a person who tests whether the configuration changes yield the result, then you need production as well as quality system access. If you're a configuration specialist or an SAP consultant, then you need access to all the systems, the development, quality, and production. Of course, in production, you will be getting a view-only access, whereas in quality and development, you might be getting whatever is required to do your job. So first, your manager raises a request in a request form and sends it to the basis team or to the security and authorization team. They create your user ID and they send in confirmation email, and they send a separate email to you with a password. For the first time, what you have to do is you will see a GUI or a GUI or a graphical user interface, and it is known as the SAP logon icon. The moment you click on that, you will see this window, which gives SAP NetWeaver, SAP GUI for Windows. It gives you this screen and then takes you to this screen where it shows the different systems you are having access to. So you select the system. For example, here it displays the global quality system, and you click on logon button, and it'll take you to a screen where it asks for the username and password. The client is the number given to a server. So in a server, there might be different clients. So a server might be having a different clients, and each client to which you have authorization to access, that client number will be provided to you. So you enter the username provided by the security and authorization team. You enter the initial password which they have provided, and immediately go to this on the first time of entering into the SAP system. For the first time you log in, you will see this screen. Just press on that green check mark, and then it will take you to the screen. But before this, for the first time, if you're logging in, it'll ask you to change your password and confirm your new password. And then it'll take you to this screen. So on default, you will see that there is an SAP Easy Access icon, and this is the default screen, and you will see that a list of authorizations or the tasks which you're authorized to perform will be listed under the user menu of your name. So getting around SAP. So this is by default, it takes you to the SAP user menu. And if you see the icon, the first icon would be SAP user menu, and the next icon is your SAP standard menu. SAP user menu is what you have authorization for to perform, whereas SAP standard menu lists all the transactions available in SAP, for which for some you might not have the authorization to perform. So here you see the toolbar, so the standard toolbar gives you a list of, this is your fast path or where you enter the transaction code. So each activity in SAP has a transaction code or a nickname. So for example, list of billing documents has a nickname VF05. So, and display of outbound delivery has a nickname or a transaction code VL03. So like that, if you know the transaction, you can go ahead and type that transaction code. But if you do not know the transaction, then you can very well navigate in the user menu and get to that transaction and display it or execute it as per your requirement. And so this is the application toolbar. And which consists of the user menu, the SAP standard menu. We'll be having a look at each one of them in a short while. So if you see here, this is the title bar, and it says SAP Easy Access. And this is the navigation bar, where it has your favorites and your username for your name as such. And so let me just go ahead and just go ahead and see. Right. So this is your navigation area, and this is your status bar where it communicates to you. The SAP system communicates to you. For example, it says you are not authorized to use the transaction SPRO, which is a customization transaction, and it's a warning message. Sorry, it's an error message. This red icon is an error message. So you have three types of messages. One is the error message, and second is the warning message, and third is the saved or ready to go to the next step of action message. So it's green, yellow, and red. And you have information, an I, blue color I message, where it just posts some information. So the basic transaction codes are, as I've told you, the transaction codes are the short path to specific screen in SAP. It's a nickname given to the specific activity. And the SPRO transaction code is the shortcut for business IMG, IMG standing for implementation guide. And so what you have to do is you have to enter SPRO in the transaction code box and click on either this green icon or enter, and then it will take you to the next screen where you have to click on SAP reference IMG, and after that it will take you to the list of all the modules configuration steps which is available under SPRO. Now, what is a transaction code? A transaction code is a nickname or shortcut to a activity. For example, in Word, you have Control S to save a document. Either you can go through the menu and save the document, or you can just press Control S. In the same way, a transaction can be, or an activity in SAP can be gone to the activity screen via the menu of SAP, or just by typing the shortcut keys or the shortcut nickname, and that is known as a transaction code. For example, VA01, VA02, VA03, these are some of the transaction codes. So VA01 is the number behind the transaction code, at the end of the transaction code, 01, 02, 03. These have a significant meaning. So 01 is to create, 02 is to modify, and 03 is to display. And whatever the first two letters has its own meaning, like for creation of an invoice or outbound delivery or customer receipt, all that is the first two letters, or the first few letters, will indicate the transaction activity, and the last numbers will indicate whether it's a creation or a modification or display. So we have the fast path where we enter the transaction code, and we have the favorites and user or SAP menus. So you enter ME51N, which is a transaction code, to do a material management related activity, and you press on the green icon or just the enter key, and you'll be taken to that screen. However, if you click on this arrow, the fast path box will get closed, or it'll shrink. So if you click on that arrow again, this arrow again, the fast path box will open. So see the difference? So this arrow, if you click on it, it'll open, and if you click on this arrow, it'll close. So ME51N is to create a purchase requisition. As I've told you, it varies from one module to another. The nickname for purchase requisition creation is ME51N. How can I easily get to where I want to be? And that's by using favorites. Remember, though there are so many transactions in SAP, a person, an individual, will not be having access to all of them based on their job specification. So in order to remember or easily navigate, you can store the specific transactions or transaction codes which you use regularly, frequently, into your favorites. SAP 51N, suppose I'm a material management person and I'm responsible for raising the purchase requisition, then I would be using that transaction code regularly. So I can store ME51N in my favorites folder rather than remembering ME51N or navigating through the SAP menu. If it's in my favorites, then automatically I click on that and it'll be taking me to the initial screen of purchase requisition creation. Now, either you can leave with the standard description provided by SAP, or you can change the description so that it's easy for you to understand. So in order to change the description, you have to right click on the favorites and change favorite, and it will allow you to change the text, and there you go. I've changed the text, and it's something which is easy for a person to understand in their own words. And these are the screen settings which is available. So you can, this icon will give you restore the screen, move the screen size, shrink, or bring it to a whichever size you want it, and minimize, maximize, close, exit, create session, and stop transaction. These are all the options available under this icon. And create session, at the maximum you can create 6 sessions at one go, so you can operate or do SAP activities, 6 different activities, provided you have the authorization to do them, in 6 different windows of SAP. And stop transaction will abrupt the execution of a transaction and exit the transaction. And the menu has user menu, SAP menu, business workplace, refresh. So these are some of the things which we've already seen. And business workplace is within the SAP system itself. If there is a sort of like, after I complete my work, some other person has to do the next set of authorization or operation. And in order to inform them that, yes, I've done my work, now it's time for you to do your part. Within the system itself, you have this workplace where you can send messages to another SAP user within the system saying that I have completed my work. Now it's time for you to do your work or the next step of works or action from your side. So that is known as business workplace. And under edit, you have execute, execute in a new window, and create shortcuts on the desktop. So these, you can execute a transaction, or you can execute a transaction in a new window rather than the current window. And you can create shortcut on the desktop. So if you click on the icon on the desktop, it'll directly ask for your username and password, and then if it's not a single sign-on, and then take you to the initial screen of the transaction. Then under favorites, we've already seen this: to add a favorite, to change a favorite, to move a favorite, then delete a favorite, insert a folder. These are all normal things which you can try out and play around. Extras has the display documentations. Each activity has a transaction documentation which can be displayed, provided they have set up the documentation settings. Then technical details, settings, and set start transaction. Now, settings is where you can do some preliminary settings, and technical details is where you can display the transaction codes. And the next one is the system. You can create a session, end a session, and at the maximum you can have 6 sessions. And you have the user profile where you can view the details of your user ID, and the services, utilities. I would be happy if you could explore these options rather than me giving a one-line explanation. And then under help, you will have all these options. Now, let's look into detail of the icons which are available below your title bar. You have the user menu and the SAP menu. User menu is what you're authorized to perform. SAP menu is all the transactions available in SAP, for which majority of them you might not have the authorization to perform. SAP Works, Business Workplace, and add to favorites. And just above the title bar, you have the standard toolbar where you have the transaction box, the save icon, and then the back icon, exit icon, cancel icon, the printing icon. You can have a hard copy, then you can search, advanced search, home page, page up, page down, and end page. Then you can open another session using this icon and go to another session and help and layout changes. Sorry, this is to create a shortcut, and this is to create a new session. And as I've told you, this is for help, the question mark, and this is for customizing the local layout. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the comment section and we will answer them as soon as possible. Let's go for a short quiz. What are the two menus available in the application toolbar? They are the SAP user menu and the SAP standard menu. What are the two ways of creating a favorite link? So from the menu bar in the easy access screen, select favorites, add to create a shortcut to this transaction, or right click and select add to favorites. What is a transaction code? Each transaction code in SAP is given a nickname. So each transaction is given a code, and you can use the transaction code instead of the menu path to navigate to the transaction. So it consists of letters, numbers, and a combination of both. And it's equivalent to shortcut keys in Word or Microsoft Excel. Like to save, you have Control S. Either you can go through the menu and save, file, save as, and or you can just click on Control S and that will save. So a transaction code is something similar to a shortcut key where you can use it to do the operation immediately rather than navigating through the menu. Other SAP basics. Now, if you see a box with a tick mark, then that means it's a mandatory field. You have to compulsorily enter a value and you can't go to the next field without entering it. And if you see a box behind a box, it has a list, a drop-down list from which you can select. And here it goes. You can select from the drop-down list and you can select only a value from there in that list and you can't enter your own value. So the standard toolbar appears on all screens, and if it is grayed out, then it means it's not active. Like for instance, here you see that the printer icon is grayed out, which means you're not allowed or you're not given the access or authorization to print. And at the lower right-hand corner of the screen, you will see an arrow and certain words or letters. So what it means is, if you press on this arrow, it will expand and it will show you the system on which you're working and the client, the username, the program, which is currently running, and the transaction code, the response time, how much time did the system take to respond to your command, the interpretation time, and the flushes, the round trips and flushes. So this gives the technical details of how long the system took to refresh its screen and bring up the initial screen and bring up the data from the database. All those things are displayed here. So we have certain prefixes which can be used in front of the transaction code. For example, /n. Remember, you can open 6 sessions at a time. So at any point of time, if you put /n and the transaction code, whatever is currently available, viewable on the screen will be totally wiped out, and the initial screen of that transaction, which is succeeding the /n, will be displayed. So it will be overwritten. /o will open another session and open the initial screen of whatever transaction you type after /o. So here you will see a wide range of icons, and if you just place your mouse pointer on each icon, you will get a description of what that icon stands for. So for example, this clock like icon, if you just place your cursor on it, it will display check availability. As I told you, there are different types of messages. You have the red color message as an error message, and you have a green tick, which is an information message, and yellow messages are warning messages. For example, in this screen, you see a green tick, which means everything has gone perfectly fine. Go to the next course of action. And if you want to log off of the system, click on the system icon and click on log off. You will come out of the session and get logged off from the system. And creating, as I've told you, creating a new session, at the maximum you can have 6 sessions open. So you can click on this icon to create a new session, or /o will create a new session, will open a new session. And these are some of the commands which you can execute to call a transaction. /n followed by that transaction code will call that transaction. /* will skip the initial screen. I would recommend you to practice all this in your practicals so that you will understand how this exactly happens. Another video will be uploaded with the practical session demonstrating everything on the SAP server. /o, /n, like that. You have /i, /n, end, /nex. So these each has its own purpose and a shortcut key, which is easy to navigate within the SAP system. So at the moment, you can see that there are 3 sessions open in the screen. So you can click on the X icon at the top right-hand corner to close that session. And if you want to get help, you have to press F1 and click on the hammer and screwdriver icon at the top, and it will take you to the documentation, which gives in detail what each field stands for and how, with an example and description and all those stuff. It's a detailed documentation. And you can also print the screen using the hard copy option, and the screenshot will be sent to the printer and printed. And if you want to end a session, you can either go to system end session or click on the X mark or at the top right-hand corner, and that will close the session. You can also click on the yellow icon in the toolbar to log off, or you can click on system log off, and it'll ask you whether you want to log off, unsaved data will be lost. Is it okay? And if you say yes, it'll take you out of the SAP system. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the comment section below, and we will answer you as soon as possible. So let's go for a quick quiz. What is a match code? A match code is a list of entries displayed, and the user is allowed to select from these entries only. So you see a box behind a box, which means a list is already available and you are allowed to choose one amongst that big list. So you cannot enter your own value. How many sessions does SAP allow to be open at the maximum? We've seen this several times. Yes, 6 sessions. What is the purpose of hard copy option? To print the screenshot of the SAP screen on the printer. Thank you for viewing this video and hope it was useful to give a quick introduction to SAP basics. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe. And if you're a new viewer or a person revisiting our channel, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon. If you like this video, please do click on the like icon. Thank you very much.